Um, okay, everyone, please let me know. Am I audible and am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So if you all remember, yesterday we were doing the analytical procedure topic, right or not? Mm, yeah. So we were talking about the analytical procedure and what is the standard number, everyone? Standard number 520. We were talking about that is called analytical procedures. And after that, in between, it was stuck, and then we had to wind up the meeting. So let us start today from the point where we left yesterday. Now, what do you mean by analytical procedure? As you all know that sometimes the auditor should try his level best to ensure that he should do the audit in the least possible manner, or he should do the audit in the least possible time. At that point of time, he must use the concept of analytical procedures. Analytical procedures are not about nothing about evaluation of the financial information with the plausible relationship among its financial information and non-financial information. So yesterday, though, when we were talking about that, we had a discussion on lot of examples over there, ki how we can analyze the situation and how we can come to the conclusion with the use of analytical procedure. I think this was the topic which we have done yesterday last, कि analytical procedure का timing क्या है? What is the timing of analytical procedure, everyone? Is it required in the beginning of the audit, during the audit, or at the completion of the audit as well? At all the three stages. Am I correct or not? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let us start with the today's topic: analytical procedure in the planning the audit. Analytical procedure assists the auditor in understanding the client's business and in identifying the areas of potential risk. The information will assist the auditor in determining the nature, timing, and extent of his audit procedures. Analytical procedure in the planning the audit use both financial and non-financial information such as number of employees, square feet of selling space, and volume of good produced, and similar information. That we already know that analytical procedure is all about using the two types of informations. One is financial and one is what? Non-financial. So in case you want to determine the salary of the company, if you want to determine what is the salary the company is paying, are you getting? If you want to determine what the salary the company is paying, at that point of time, understanding the number of employees is also very important for you at that point of time, right? So this is called analytical procedure ka introduction so far, right? Now, first thing, it is not availability in India, it is availability of data. Availability of data. Now, everyone, now let us understand what do you mean by substantive analytical procedures. Auditors' substantive analytical procedures at the assertion level may be test of details, substantive analytical procedures, or a combination of both. Decision about whether to use substantive analytical procedure is based on the auditor's professional judgment about the effectiveness and efficiency of the available audit procedures to reduce the audit risk to an acceptably low level. Auditor may inquire of the management as to the availability and reliability of information needed to apply the substantive analytical procedures and the results of any such analytical procedure performed by the entity. Now, in this paragraph, what the whole lawmaker is saying that lawmaker is simply saying one thing, कि only substantive analytical procedure is not good. Only test of details is not good. It's better that auditor should make a good combination of the both. That thing I already told you yesterday also, कि whenever we are talking about the analytical procedures, never be too dependent upon analytical procedures, never be too dependent upon the TOD. A good auditor will always try to make the good combination of both systematic analytical procedures as well as the testing of details. Now, what are those things you have to keep it in mind? What are those factors you have to keep it in mind if you want to use the analytical procedure. The first factor what you have to keep it in mind is availability of reliable and relevant data will facilitate effective procedures. Now, everyone, please tell me, in case you are verifying the GST operations of the entity, or in case you are verifying the GST amount paid by the entity, which one is the most reliable data? Is it the GST returns or the GST data available from the GST portal? Or is it the sales ledger maintained by the company? Tell me, which data available to you is highly reliable? Yes, GST portal. Are you getting the point? Because in the GST portal, you can cross verify or you can reconcile it with the person from where you are claiming the GST. You can verify the input, you can verify the output, you can verify the conciliation. So reliability of the data availability of the reliable data is the biggest thing the auditor has to keep it in mind to understand whether substantive audit procedures are required to be done or not required to be done. So what is the first thing? First thing is availability of data, and in the availability of data also which data you are looking for. It should be a reliable and relevant data. What do you mean by reliable? It should be trustworthy, and relevant, it should be connected with the procedure which I am using. Second thing is called disaggregation. Now, what do you mean by disaggregation, everyone? Disaggregation is the degree of disaggregation in the available data can directly affect the degree of its usefulness in detecting the misstatement. What do you mean by disaggregation? Now, disaggregation means what? Individual datas. Are you getting the point? Individual datas and cluster of the datas always affect the degree of usefulness in the detecting a misstatement. It's a very simple thing. The more and more individual data will be there with you, the more and more reliability of the audit procedures will take place. The more and more aggregate data will be there with you. What is happening, guys? Are you guys getting out of the meeting automatically and then coming in again and again? Yes, sir. Is there any problem with the meeting? Okay, okay, okay. Again, is it the problem from my side or you are getting automatically logged out? Am I audible now, everyone? And am I clear? Yes, okay. Please let me know if any problem is there, okay? Immediately I'll take care of that. Okay. Chalo. Now, third thing. The third thing is account type. Systematic analytical procedures are more useful to certain type of account than others. Income statement accounts tend to be more predictable because they reflect the accumulated transaction over a period, whereas the balance sheet account represent the net effect of the transaction at a point of time or are subject to greater management judgment. It's a very simple thing they are saying that analytical procedures, if I have to tell you in one line, analytical procedures are more useful in the P&L statement items, and it is yes less useful in case of balance sheet items. Can anybody tell me why? Why analytical procedures in Divya? Are you in the meeting now, Divya? Are you in the meeting now, Divya? Please confirm. Everyone is facing the same issue. Let's do one thing, guys. Let me reconnect the meeting again. Come back again, please. I don't know why yesterday it was my problem and today it is. Okay, let me just reconnect the meeting again. Please come back. Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, there is a problem coming in the Zoom actually. So students are coming in the class, they're automatically getting disconnected, and again they are sending the request. It is happening like for each student, 5, 5, 10 times it is happening. Okay. Zoom ID. Okay. 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 Yeah, that's what just now I did it. I think the problem should be solved now. Yeah. Okay, sir. Right. Right. Okay, sir. Right, sir. Okay. Everybody is able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Is it visible now? Everything? Yeah. Okay. Chalo. So let us understand this topic now. So what we were talking about, like the third topic. First topic, we understood that the availability of the data should be there. And what is the relevant data and how much is the reliable data available to you? That is more important while deciding whether to use a substantive audit procedures or not. So relevance, so you can remember this as RR of data. What is RR of data? Relevance and reliability of the data is the first factor. You always have to keep it in mind. Second thing, how much is the disaggregation of the data available to you? It means individual data are always more better than the disaggregated data. Are you getting the point? Because in the individual data, you can check the things in a better way. In a in an individual matter, you can check the things in a better way, because in the aggregated data, it will very difficult for you to understand which one is correct and which one is incorrect. Point number three, mein what we understood. In the point number three, we understood. Acha, please tell me everyone, P&L statement and trading account. Just try to understand what I'm saying. P&L statement and trading account is something which keeps on going on throughout the year or not?
Yes.
Yes. Balances gets balanced throughout the year or only at the end of the year?
End of the year.
End of the year. So tell me one thing, what items you can predict in a better manner? Is it the P&L items you can predict, or is it the balance sheet items you can predict better?
Balance sheet items.
No, you can't predict the
P&L items.
P&L items. Yes, P&L items you can
Oh,
predict better. The reason is very simple. Suppose it's been 3 months now. It's been 3 months now, and your total rent paid is 3,60,000. It's been 3 months now of the beginning of the financial year. Total rent paid by you is 3,60,000. Tell me what could be the yearly rent? Tell me
30,000.
what could be the yearly rent?
30,000.
Yearly. If the
120.
3 months rent is 3,60,000, what could be the yearly rent? Yearly rent could be what? 12 lakhs. Yearly rent could be 14 lakhs 40,000 or not?
40,000.
Yeah, 14 lakh 40,000. Are you getting the point? So can you predict the yearly item very easily in the P&L statement or not? Yes. So let me give you another example also. I'm talking about the analysis, everyone. Suppose it's been 6 months that you are doing the business, and in the 6 months you have reached to the turnover of 600 crores. What is the possibility that by the year of the end, by the year end, you will reach the turnover of what?
120.
1200 crores. Are you getting? If 600 crores you have reached, minimum or average, you can say that 1200 crores, a little bit upside and downside, it is possible. So in the P&L statement and in the trading account, the things can be predicted very easily because the transactions are getting accumulated over a period of time. But in the balance sheet, the prediction is little bit difficult because balance sheet happens only at the end of the financial year, or balances get balanced only at the end of the financial year. So tell me, on which items analytical procedure can be used more and on which items analytical procedure can be used less? On P&L items, it can be used what? More.
More.
And it can be, I'm not saying that it cannot be used on balance sheet item, but it can be used very less when it comes to the balance sheet item. What can be the reason? The reason is very simple. Reason is predictability. What is the reason, everyone? Predictability. What are the things you can predict and what are the things you can't predict? That you have to understand in this point. Now, the next factor which affects the most is known as source. It's a very simple thing, everyone. Internal source of information is always better, or external source of information is always better.
External.
External is always more favorable than what? Internal. Is it correct thing to say? Tell me, everyone. I'm
No,
going.
sir.
Yes. Same thing I told you in the audit evidence chapter also. Is it correct to say that?
External is mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly.
Yes, very nice. Mostly external is more reliable than internal. But when we are evaluating the internal control system, at that point of time, external is more valuable or internal?
Internal.
Internal. And next source is nothing but called what? Predictability. Are you getting the point? Tell me one thing, guys. Where the analytical procedures can be used in a better manner? Those things which are predictable in nature and those things where the prediction is very difficult.
Predictable in nature.
Predictable in nature. So you can read this paragraph, everyone, what is written. Substantive analytical procedure are more appropriate when an account balance or the relationship between the item of data are predictable, like between sales and cost of sales, between the trade receivables and cash receipts. A predictable relationship is one that may reasonably be expected to exist and continue over a time. Now, next thing, what is the fifth factor? Sixth factor, nature of assertion, everyone. What is the sixth factor? Nature of assertion, everyone. Acha, tell me, everyone, what is being written here? Analytical procedures may be more effective in providing the evidence for some assertions, example, completeness or valuation, than for others, right and obligations. Now, tell me one thing. Let's take an example. Okay. Listen to my example very carefully, everyone, and please tell me whether it is correct or not. Uh, you went to the godown, and in the godown, lot of stock is lying. Hell, lot of stock is there. So, by visualizing the stock, can you say that ki yes, I think it is of 30 crores only? They are showing the 30 crores of stock, and you have a little bit of information about the market price of that stock. You are visualizing the whole go down, and in the whole go down is full of stock only. So you can roughly make an idea, okay, minimum 20-30 crores of stock it is there, right or not? So regarding the valuation, you can use the substantive analytical procedure. But just stock is lying in front of you. Can you give me the correct idea? Is it your own stock or outsider stock? Tell me one thing. Ownership of the stock and the valuation of the stock. Which management assertion can be easily made by using the substantive analytical procedure? Tell me, everyone. By looking at the stock, you can tell me, yes, it is existing. By looking at the stock, you can tell me, okay, this might be the value. But can you tell me by looking at the stock, is it your client stock or somebody's stock? What is not possible in case of which assertion? Tell me. There are three assertions I'm telling you. Suppose
Existence.
you are checking the inventory at the
Ownership.
godown. Yes. Existence, ownership, and valuation. Out of these three assertions, what two assertions or what assertions you can tell easily by using this substantive analytical procedure, and what assertions you completely cannot tell?
Ownership.
Ownership. Okay, you can tell about the ownership or you can't tell about the ownership. Yeah.
Content.
Yeah, you can tell about the existence because by watching the stock only, by seeing the stock only, you can say that yes, this much of stock is okay. Again, the same problem is happening, everyone.
No, sir.
I think Dharani went out and came back again, and then Dharani, is it the same thing happening with you again? Dharani or Deva? What is her name? Deva Darshini.
No, sir, I'm in class.
Okay, somebody just now entered it. So please let me know if any kind of problem is there. So looking at the inventory, I can say that, okay, existence of inventory is there. I can say that, okay, looking at that much of inventory, this might be the value. But looking at the inventory, can you say that it is your own inventory or it is given to the bank? Is it hypothecated and inventory or it is free inventory? No. So ownership you can't tell. So what kind of assertions you can tell, what kind of assertions you can't tell, based upon that also we have to see where you should use the, what do you say, substantive analytical
Substantive.
procedure and where you cannot use the substantive analytical procedure. Next factor is known as inherent risk or what can go wrong. Tell me everyone, what do you understand by the term called inherent risk? Can anybody tell me? What do you understand by the term called inherent risk? Acha, let me,
Imposed by the management.
sorry, which is
Imposed by the management.
imposed by the management. Very nice. Acha, tell me everyone, imagine a bank without the cameras. Imagine there is one bank in which no cameras are installed. Tell me, is it a good sign of ICS, a poor sign of ICS, or no ICS?
What?
It is a sign of no ICS. What are the chances of frauds and errors in that particular bank branch? Higher or lower?
Very high.
Very high. So tell me one thing. When there are no internal control systems in a bank, first of all, tell me, installing the camera was the auditor's responsibility or management responsibility?
Management.
So whether this kind of risk is inherent risk or not, that definitely the things will go wrong. Am I correct or not? Harish,
Yeah.
are you facing the problem again and again? I think the person is Harish. Maybe. Harish, are you in the meeting now? So inherent risk is that risk, the error will definitely occur. Definite, acha, if the cameras are there and they are not working, that is a sign of no ICS or poor ICS? Poor ICS. So in that case, the possibility of frauds and errors will be little bit still less. Why? Because even though the cameras are working or not, the theft person, the person who is a thief, might not be aware of the fact that whether cameras are working or not. Are you getting the point? But if he sees surrounding, there is not even a single camera, then so definitely there is an inherent risk that frauds and errors will take place. So if the inherent risk is present in the organization, then you can easily tell what may go wrong or what can go wrong. Now see, when we are designing the audit procedures to address an inherent risk of what can go wrong, we consider the nature of risk of in order to determine if a substantive analytical procedure can be used to obtain the audit evidence. When inherent risk is higher, we may design the test of details to address the inherent risk. When a significant risk have been identified, audit evidence obtained solely from the substantive analytical procedure is unlikely to be sufficient. So everyone, please tell me so far now, how many factors you have to keep it in mind to understand whether substantive analytical procedures can be used or cannot be used. Total, how many factors we have done? We have done the 7 factors, everyone. What are the 7 factors, everyone? Tell me, list one by one. Availability of data. In that availability, R and R we are interested in. What is R and R, everyone?
Reliable and relevant.
Reliability of data and relevance of data. Am I correct or not? Second thing, degree of
Disaggregation.
disaggregation. What is the third one? Account type. What do you mean by account type? Where it can be more useful, P&L items or balance sheet?
P&L.
More useful in P&L, less useful in balance sheet. Third, fourth one, predictability. Predictability. Next one, nature of assertion. Nature of assertions. Next one, everyone.
Source.
Yes.
Source.
Inherent risk or what can go wrong. And most importantly, the seventh one is what? Source of data. from where you are collecting the data, that also matters. So these are the total 7 factors which will help you in deciding whether you should go for TOD or whether you should go for what? SAP. Everyone clear or not? Yes. Now, what is the next topic? Techniques available as substantive analytical procedure. Techniques, so we already know, everyone. All about the techniques, so we already know. What do you understand by trend analysis, everyone? Can anybody tell me what do you mean by trend analysis? Now, let me ask you one thing. Trend analysis are nothing but the chart system only. Say, for example, if we are checking the legal expense account of company, legal expense of a company, there is a legal expense account, and you are seeing that it is 2010, 2015, 2020, and the chart is going like this. What does it indicate, everyone? Legal expense account of the company 2010 to 2020. You have made one chart and chart is going on the upper side. What does that indicate, everyone? Expenditures are incurred more and more and expenditures are incurred less and less.
More and more.
More and more. Okay, what does that indicate if the expenditures in the legal expense account are increasing day by day? Whether the company is winning the cases or losing the cases, everyone.
Losing the cases.
Yes, company is losing the cases. So that is nothing but called analytical procedure only. But what does, which method we are talking about right now? Are we talking about ratio analysis or trend analysis? This is known as trend analysis. So it is an upward trend or downward trend. All these are known as what? Trend analysis techniques. So yes. So what do you mean by trend analysis technique? Everyone read it along with me. A commonly used technique is the comparison of current data with the prior period balance or with the trend in the 2 or more prior period balances. We evaluate whether the current balances of an account moves in line with the trend established with the previous balances for that account or based on understanding of the factors that may cause the effect to change. It's a very simple thing. They are saying that the current year figures shall be compared with the last year figures. Jesse, sometimes we do the trend analysis like this also. Let me make one chart. Okay, so I can say that red color means current year and blue color means last year, and we are doing cost of production analysis. Cost of production analysis. Okay, so 2020, 21 and 2021, 22. So tell me, everyone, what does this kind of analysis is all about? Our cost of production as compared to the last year is increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing. So this is also known as what? Trend analysis, everyone. Did you get the point or not? So trend analysis is one of the very important technique or very useful technique when it comes to the secure, what do you say, substantive analytical procedure. What is the second thing, everyone? What is the second thing? Second thing is all about ratio analysis. Ratio analysis to all, you all know, because it is one of the chapter in your financial management. Can you calculate some of the ratios for me? Can you please tell me, if I want to check the liquidity of my client, which ratios are better? Current ratio. If I'm checking the profitability of my client, which ratios I should calculate? GP ratio or NP ratio. If I'm talking about the activity of my client, should I calculate the turnover ratios or not? Yes. And if I want to talk about the solvency of my client, should I calculate debt by equity ratio or not? Yes. So these are the various techniques in the ratio analysis which are useful as a systematic analytical procedure. So you can see that, everyone, ratio analysis is useful for analyzing the assets and liability accounts as well as the revenue and expenditure accounts. An individual balance sheet An individual balance sheet account is difficult to predict on its own, but its relationship to the another account is often more predictable. Example, trade receivable balances can be related to the sales. Ratios can also be compared over the time to the ratios of the separate entities within the group or within the ratios of other companies in the same industry. So everyone, please tell me, if the telecommunication industry is there, if the telecommunication industry's current ratio is 3 to 1, and Idea is having 1 is to 1, Geo is having 4 is to 1, Airtel is having 2.8 is to 1. Now tell me, whose internal ratio, whose internal ratio is better? Whose current ratio is better as per the industry, everyone? Please tell me.
Geo.
Geo. Obviously, Geo as well as the Airtel also. Okay, industry is 3 is to 1. Airtel is 2.8 is to 1.
Nearest, closest to industry.
Yeah, closest to the industry. As simple as that. Am I correct or not? But Idea is positive or Idea is negative in this case?
Neutral.
No, Idea is not negative. You can't say positive, you can't say negative. You can say that yes, it is below the industry line. This is called what? Did I do the intra-firm comparison right now or inter-firm comparison right now?
Intercom. Interfirm
I
comparison.
did the inter-firm comparison, everyone. What do you mean by inter-firm comparison? When you make the comparison between the two companies of the same industry, it is known as inter-firm comparison. And what do you mean by intra-firm comparison, everyone? When you make the
Departments
comparison,
of the same
yes,
company.
when you make the comparison between the two departments of the same company, that is called what? Intra-firm comparison. Everyone crystal clear or not?
Within.
Yes. Clear? Now, yeah, within. Correct. Correctly said. Now, reasonable test, everyone. Reasonableness test. Reasonableness test. Now, see. Unlike trend analysis, this analytical procedure does not rely on events of prior periods but upon the non-financial data for the audit period under the consideration. Example, occupancy rates to estimate the rental income or interest rate to estimate the interest income or the expenditure. These tests are generally more applicable to income statement accounts and certain accrual and prepayment account. Everyone, please tell me, what do you understand by seasonal industry?
I feel.
Yes, seasonal industry is that industry which is having two types of seasons, everyone. Can I say that the season is known as off season and peak season? Am I correct or not? So my question is very simple, everyone. Let's talk about Srinagar. Srinagar is a very hilly area. Am I correct or not? Tell me, everyone, in the Srinagar, in the hilly area, what will be the occupancy rate of hotels during winters, during the snowfall, and what will be the occupancy rate of hotels during the summers? Which is the peak season of the Srinagar and which one is the off season of the Srinagar? When the people would like to go to the Srinagar Valley or Jammu and Kashmir?
Summer.
During the summers or during the winters?
Summer season.
During the winters, my friend.
Winter.
Why the somebody,
Here summer.
huh?
They go in both summer and winter.
They would like to go in the winters, my friend. Why you would like to go to the hilly area just to see the snow? Acha, you are in the south right now. You are in Chennai right now. So in the Chennai right now, so throughout the year you are facing the summers only. Why you would like to go in the hilly area? In the during the winters, why you would like to go over there? Because snowfall is happening during the winters in the Srinagar and Jammu and Kashmir area. So would you like to see the snowfall during that period or not?
Yes.
Yes. So when you will go, like you, so many people in India will go. So what is the peak season for the hilly areas?
Winter.
Winters. And during that winter, what will be the occupancy rate of hotels over there? Highest or the lowest?
Yes.
Highest.
Yes.
And it will be very lowest in case of what? Summers.
Summers.
So that is what do you mean by reasonableness test? Did you get the point or not? What do you mean by reasonableness test, everyone? Where we can predict the things on the basis of its season, on the basis of the events, on the basis of the situations. Now tell me, whatever I told you so far, did you understand it reasonably or not? Tell me everyone, did you understand it reasonably or not? Yes, so that is called
Yes, sir.
reasonable test, everyone. Are you getting the point? And last but not the least is known as fourth method. What is the name of the fourth method, everyone? Structural modeling. So what are the three methods we are done with? Trend analysis, ratio analysis, and third one is reasonable test. What do you mean by structural modeling? The modeling tool constructs the statistical model from the financial and non-financial data of the prior accounting periods to predict the current balances. Are you getting the point or not? This is what do you mean by restructuring or structural modeling. Acha, say for example, uh, let's do it in this way. 17, 18, 25 crores bad debt. 18, 19, 28 crores bad debt. 19, 20 में 29 crores bad debt. And 2021 में 27 crores of debt. So everyone please tell me, in the 21-22 financial year which started today, what kind of provision of doubtful debt you would like to provide? How much is the amount of provision of doubtful debt you would like to provide now?
Based on previous year, 1920.
Based on the previous year 1920 or 2021?
1920.
No, in the
So,
21
sorry, 2020.
yeah. So,
2020.
acha, can I say that I can consider all these four? If you calculate the average of that, can I say that minimum 25 crores, so definitely you have to provide?
Yes.
Yes or no? Because this is a trend going on. Is 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, everything was under 30, but more than 25. Am I correct or not? This is called structural modeling, everyone, where you use the past year's information, or the prior period information to do the analysis of which year? Current year. To do the analysis of the current year information. That is called what? Structural modeling method, everyone. So tell me, how many methods we understood in the substantive analytical procedures, everyone? Four
Four.
methods. One is known as trend analysis, one is known as ratio analysis, one is known as reasonable test, and one is known as structural modeling. In all the four things, what is the common thing? The common thing is PJ, everyone. What is PJ? Professional judgment. Professional judgment. So professional judgment helps you in understanding which kind of method is more suitable in which kind of situation. Clear, everyone? Any doubt or no doubt in this particular topic?
No doubt, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, now let us understand the next part. How much is there? Okay, we are on the edge of completion of our chapter. Then we'll start with the next chapter. Analytical procedure used as a substantive test, everyone. Now see, when designing when designing and performing substantive analytical procedure either alone or in combination of TOD as substantive procedure in accordance with SA 330, auditors shall, what is the first thing? Determine the suitability of particular substantive audit procedure for the given assertion, taking into account the assertion risk of material misstatement, test of details, if any, for those assertions. Evaluate the reliability of data. I think they are repeating the question again. Everyone, please tell me, what are the 7 factors you have to keep it in mind? Tell me, before deciding whether you should go for SAP or you should go for TOD. Tell me the 7 factors again. It is nothing but the repetitive question of that only. Tell me the 7 factors which you will keep it in mind before deciding whether you should go for what do you say, analytical procedure, or you should go for TOD. Tell me the 7 factors. Wait.
First, availability
First one, availability of what? Data.
data.
Second one, source of data. Third one, predictability of data. Am I correct or not? Predictability of data. Okay, what is the next one?
Nature.
Predictable. Okay, my pencil is out of charge now. You keep on telling. Don't worry, it will get charged. You keep on telling.
Nature of a person.
Nature, yeah. The predictability of data, source, average of the data, degree of disaggregation, account type, source, nature of assertion, and what was the last one? Inherent risk. That is what can go wrong. Are you getting the point or not? So these are the various things you have to keep it in mind while deciding should you go for SAP or should you go for testing of details. Now, what is the next topic? The next topic is suitability of particular analytical procedure. Is my screen visible, everyone?
No, sir.
Hmm. Now, is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Now, suitability of particular analytical procedure for the given assertion. Now, in which assertion, which analytical procedure is Komal? Is it visible now? Yes, okay. Now, which particular analytical procedure is applicable for which kind of assertion that we have to understand in this particular topic. Now, somebody please read it on my behalf. Please read it because I can't actually read without the use of the pencil and pencil is getting charged. Please read this whole paragraph of fourth, the total concept. And when I will tell you to stop, just stop it over there. Okay.
The suitability of a particular analytical procedure will depend upon the order assignment, how effective it will be in creating a misstatement. Individually or when aggregated with other misstatements, may cause the financial statement to be materially misstated.
Okay. Read the next paragraph.
Different types of analytical procedures provide different levels of assurance. Analytical procedures involving, for example, the prediction of total rental income on a building, dividing into apartments, taking the rental rates, the number of apartments, and vacancy rates into consideration, will provide precise evidence and may eliminate the need for further verification by means of test of details.
Hmm.
Provide the element are appropriately verified.
Hmm.
In contrast, calculations and comparisons of a gross margin percentages as means of confirming a revenue figure may provide less potential evidence but may provide useful corroboration if used in combination with other audit procedures.
Okay. Now it's a very simple example given in front of you, everyone. Please try to understand. Now, there is one client who has shown the rental income on the credit side of his P&L statement. There is one client who has shown the rental income on the credit side of his P&L statement. Do you need to check each? And he's having almost 1600 flats in one building. There is one area, there is one township in which he is having 1600 flats, and from each flat he is getting rental income on the basis of area of their flat. Say for example, per square feet he gets 1000 rupees. Per square feet he is charging 1000 rupees. Now I'm going to give you one figure now. My client is showing some rental income. My client is showing rental income. He's showing rental income from 1600 flats. Am I correct or not? It is running in crores and crores of rental income. And he's charging the rental income via square feet of each flat. There are 400 flats of 1500 square feet. There are 400 flats of 1800 SFT. There are 400 flats. Okay, so there are 400 flats of 1500 SFT. There are 400 flats of 1800 SFT. There are 400 flats of 1000 SFT. And there are 400 flats of 1200 SFT. Now tell me everyone, can you easily predict the rental income of my client or not?
Yes.
Yes, it's a very simple thing. Per SFT he is charging 1000 rupees. So in the first case, what will be his rental income? 400 into 1500 into what? 1000. 400 flats of 1500. 1500 for 400 flats of 1500 SFT. Per SFT he is charging 1000 rupees. Are you getting the point? It means he is getting a rent of what? Per SFT if he is charging, he is getting, yes. You can calculate. Like that, in the second case also you can calculate, Harish. Am I correct or not? 400 flats of 1800 into 1000 rupees. So like that, if some figure is given as a rental income throughout the year, are you getting the point? And into 12 you can do it or not? This is a per month income, and if you multiply the total incomes into 12, it will become yearly income or not? So once these kind of informations are available, do you need to do further for checking each and every rental receipt, or it is a simple mathematical calculation you can do? Tell me, everyone. Yes, simple mathematical calculation you can do. You need not go deeper into it. You need not tell your client, show me the testing of details or show me this evidence, that evidence. You need not do. If your calculated figure and the client's rental income shown are matching, it means everything is sorted. If little bit of up and down is coming, then also it is sorted. But if the major difference is that, then definitely you have every right to ask the query to your client. Am I clear with all of you? So tell me, in this case, a substantive analytical procedure can be used or cannot be used? Can be used. Did you get the point or not? This is what the example is given in front of you. But tell me one thing, just by calculating the GP ratio or just by calculating the NP ratio percentages, can you exactly tell what is going to be the revenue of the full year? Tell me, everyone. By calculating the GP ratio and NP ratio or percentages, or by just by checking two or three things, can you tell the full revenue of the full year? No. At that point of time, you have to do the SAP also as well as the TOD also. So there are some areas where only SAP is possible, but there are some areas where the SAP has to be done with the TOD. Did you all understand what I'm saying? Yes or no? Now, in which area SAP is possible, in which area SAP plus TOD is possible, that is purely dependent upon case to case basis. I hope everyone is crystal clear. Am I correct or not? That is what is written in the paragraph number 2. Everyone please read, somebody please read the para number 3, which is given in front of us. Yes, somebody please read the para number 3 given in face of front of us. Please read it. What
The
happened?
determination of the suitability of particular substantive analytical procedure is influenced by the nature of assertion and the auditor's assessment of risk of material misstatement. For example, if controls over sales order processing are weak, the auditor may place more reliance on test of details rather than on substantive analytical procedures for assertions related to receivables.
Okay, so let me ask you a very simple thing, guys. A simple idea I will give. Suppose you are already an auditor of one company for the last 4 years. So when you did the audit of your client for the last 4 years, do you have a rich experience about your client's test internal control system or not? Yes or no? Can I say that 4 years have given you the good experience? Now you can easily tell me whether your client's internal control system is good or bad. Can I say that? Yes. Now tell me one thing. In the last 4 years, the common thing what you have found out is that their sales department is very weak. Their sales department is highly weak, very weak. There are less qualified people in the sales department, and there are so many troubles in the sales department. So tell me, while checking the sales of your client, would you like to go for systematic or substantive analytical procedures, or would you like to go for TOD in that case?
TOD.
TOD, testing of detail. So I would like to do the,
Basically, it is a part.
yeah, I would like to go for examination in depth because their internal control system is very strong in the sales department or very poor in the sales department.
Poor.
That is what is written. Which kind of substantive analytical procedure you are going to use, in which kind of assertion, that is purely dependent upon the ROMUM. Now tell me, the ROMUM in the sales department is higher or lower?
Yeah.
So that means you are going to go for SAP or TOD?
TOD.
TOD. And if I say the vice versa situation, Their ROMAM is completely nil in the department because they're in the sales department. All chartered accountants are working and everyone is having a good qualification and everyone is having a good practice in doing the managing the sales. Now tell me, their internal control system is strong or it is weaker?
Good.
Good. Now, in that case, can you go for systematic analytical procedure or substantive analytical procedure?
Yes.
Yes, you may go for. So that is what the paragraph number 3 is telling us. Read the paragraph number 4, Komal. So somebody who was reading, sorry. Komal, only, you are only reading.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Komal, read the paragraph number 4.
Particular substantive analytical procedures may also be considered suitable when test of details are performed on the same assertion. For example, when obtaining audit evidence regarding the valuation assertion for accounts receivable balances, the auditor may apply analytical procedures to an aging of customers' accounts, in addition to performing test of details on subsequent cash receipts to determine the collectability of the receivables.
Yes. So what they are saying that there is no harm if we can apply SAP with the TOD on the same thing only. Are you getting the point? We are already applying the TOD on something, and there is no harm if we'll apply the SAP on the same thing with the TOD is already applied. Now, they are simply giving you the example. What is the example? Everyone read it very carefully. The example given is this. Now see, when obtaining audit evidence regarding the valuation assertion of debtors receivable. Now tell me one thing. You are checking the value of the debtors. The auditor may apply analytical procedures to the aging of the customers. Means what? What do you mean by aging of the customers? Which debtors are taking longer period of time to release the money and which types of debtors are giving the less period of time. Suppose there are some total 20 debtors. Out of 20 debtors, 15 debtors are there which are giving me the money back within 1 month only. It means they are clearing their payment regularly within 1 month only. But there are 5 debtors who are taking more than 180 days to clear my payment. So tell me, where the chances of bad debts are very high? In the 15 debtors or in the last 5 debtors?
Last to 5.
Last 5 debtors. That is called analytical procedure. I already calculated their value by doing the TOD. So via TOD, I already calculated the valuation of debtors. But where the chances of bad debts are there, where the less chances of bad debts are there, can I calculate this by using the SAP or not? Yes. So did I use the TOD and SAP on the different areas or on the same areas? Same area.
Same
That
area.
is called debtors. So what is the conclusion? What is the total conclusion of our discussion so far in the last 10 minutes is suitability of particular analytical procedure for the given assertion. So in case you want to check something and you think that SAP is good, then follow SAP. If you think that TOD is better, then follow TOD. If you think that ROMAM is high, then follow TOD. If you think that ROMAM is less, then follow SAP. And there is no harm if you are following SAP and TOD at the same point of time on the same items. Did you understand what I told you so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes or not? All the 3 rules what we understood? Based upon the nature of assertion which you are checking, SAP can be decided. If the ROMAM is high, go for TOD. If the ROMAM is less, go for what? SAP. And there is no harm if where you are already going for TOD, you can also apply what? SAP on that. Clear everyone? Any doubt or no doubt? No doubt. Okay. Now, again, they are asking you this thing. Now, my question is very simple, everyone. Read the question, everyone. Read the question number 5. What is question number 5?
Extent of reliance
On now, extent of reliance means what? When you can have a more trust on analytical procedures, when you can have a less trust on analytical procedure. I'll give you some questions. You please, everyone, please write the answer in the comment box. Or if you want to speak, speak also. No issues. Tell me one thing. External source of data I have obtained. More extent of reliance on AP or less extent of reliance on AP? I have obtained external. More. So can I say that the first factor is nothing but again called what? source. Are you getting the point or not?
Sure.
So are you able to see the same answers in? Yes. What is the first answer, everyone? Source of information available. So source of information available is going to help you in deciding whether you can more trust this thing or whether you can less trust on this thing. What is the second thing? Comparability of information available. Tell me one thing, if you have a comparable information, then SAP will be more easier or less easier? If you have a comparability of the information available, SAP will be more easier or less easier? More easier. You can do the more easy thing. Nature and relevance of the information available. Now tell me one thing. I was verifying the debtors, but sales information is not available. I was verifying the debtors, but sales information is not available. Now tell me, purchase information is available. So purchase is more relevant or sale is more relevant? Sale is more
Sale
relevant.
is
So,
more
yes, so nature and relevance of the information available is the third factor. And what is the fourth factor? Controls over the preparation of information that is available. Tell me one thing. Company's internal control system is highly strong. Can I use more SAPs? Tell me everyone. Company's internal control system is very strong. Can I use more SAPs or less SAPs? More SAPs, because internal control system is strong. Just now we have done that one question or not. So tell me everyone, what are the four factors which will help you in deciding whether you can rely more on SAP or you can rely less on SAP? Factor number one, source. Factor number two, comparability. Factor number three, nature and relevance. And factor number four, everyone, controls.
over the preparation of.
So can I say that if the external source is there, your trust will be more? Am I correct? If more comparability there, your trust will be more. Are you getting the point? If more relevant information is available, your trust will be more. Am I correct? And if internal control systems are very strong, again your trust will be more. And if I'll do the vice versa, your trust will be less. So my question is very simple, everyone. Is this topic and the previous topic which we have done are the same or different? Try to think logically. Where we have done the 7 factors, those are those 7 factors which will help us in deciding whether to go for SAP or not to go for SAP. These are not those 7 factors. These are 4 factors which are help us in deciding to what extent we can use the SAP, to what extent we can not use the SAP. Should we go for more SAPs or less SAPs? So remember one thing, in the 7 factors we understood whether to go for SAP or not to go for SAP. But in these 4 factors, what we understood, whether to go for more SAP or less SAP. Everyone crystal clear or not? Did you understand? Let me clear it again. How many of you got the doubt what I said so far? I would like to clarify it there itself only. Now listen to this verified. If this question will come, briefly explain the factors to be considered whether to use SAP or TOD. What will be your answer, everyone? Is it going to be the 4 factors or is it going to be the 7 factors? 7 factors. Tell me the 7 factors. Source, availability, predictability, assertion, inherent risk, then what do you say? Yeah, disaggregation and account type. Am I correct or not? But if they are asking you this question, everyone, explain the factors by which auditor can decide his level of reliance on SAPs. Now tell me, is the question maker is asking you whether to use the SAP or not to use the SAP, or question maker is saying that ki you are already using the SAP, but whether to use more SAP or less SAP? There is a difference between these two questions or not? Yes. So tell me, what are the four factors? Source,
Comparability,
comparability, nature and relevance. And the last one is what, everyone? Yes, the controls. So I hope all of you got justified with the explanation which I told you so far. Yes or no? Yes. Now tell me one thing, whether the analytical procedures helps you in forming the opinion. Tell me, everyone. Whether analytical procedures helps you in forming the opinion, whether your conclusions, your expression of opinion is having a little bit contribution from SAPs. Yes or no? Yeah. Yeah, little bit contribution they make or not. I'm not saying that 100% you got the evidence. I'm not saying that 100% reliable evidence you got, but little bit direction you get or not. Yes or no? So can I call it as a primary evidence, or can I call it as a supporting evidence? Supporting evidence. Now everyone read this paragraph, everyone. Analytical procedure that assist performing an overall conclusion drawn from the results of analytical procedure designed and performed in accordance with are intended to, what is this word written, everyone? Corroborate. Repeat the word. What is the word? Corroborate. Corroborate means what? You are already having a primary evidence, but you sometimes need a which evidence? Supporting evidence. That supporting evidence is known as what? Corroborate evidence. So everyone, please tell me, primary evidence are you going to collect via SAP or TOD? Primary evidence you are going to collect via SAP or TOD, where you will get the more relevant evidence? TOD. So can I say that SAP helps you in supporting your evidence which you have already obtained from TOD or not? Yes. So do you remember our SA 580, everyone? How many of you remember SA 580? What is SA 580? I told you. Written representation letter. Do you all remember that? Is the written representation letter is your first option or last option? Last option. Is it a primary evidence? No. Is it a sufficient evidence? No. Is it an appropriate evidence? No. But is it a supporting evidence or not? Yes. Are you getting the point? Same is case with the SAP. So SAP and WRL both play the same role only. Read the whole paragraph, everyone. Drawn from the results of analytical procedure designed and performed in accordance with are intended to corroborate the conclusion formed during the audit of individual components or elements of the financial statement. This assists. What is the word used, everyone? The word used is assist. Means it helps the auditor to draw the reasonable conclusions on which to base the auditor's opinion. तो ये auditor की opinion को support करते हैं. Are you getting the point? What do you understand by ROMUM, everyone? ROMUM, to you all know, it is known as risk of material misstatement. Matters relevant to the auditor's evaluation whether expectations can be developed sufficiently precisely to identify misstatement when aggregated or with other may cause the financial statement to be materially misstatement include the accuracy with which the expected results of the systematic analytical procedure can be predicted. For example, auditor may expect a greater consistency in comparing the gross profit margins of one period to another than in comparing the discretionary expenses such as research or advertising. Acha, I will ask you a very simple question, everyone. Please tell me which industries were booming when the COVID-19 was going on? Just an analysis only. Which industries were booming when the COVID-19 was going on? Is it the gold industry or is it the pharma industry?
Pharma.
Pharma, yeah, pharma industry or medical industry. Very nice. And can I say that at the same point of time, IT industry also?
Yes.
How how IT industry was booming when the COVID-19 was going on?
Zoom meeting.
Yeah, Zoom,
Online
Cisco,
services.
yes, Zoom, Cisco, online shopping, Big Basket. Everyone use that many apps or not? Right or not? I to frankly speaking, last year before the March month when the lockdown happened, I was not even aware of the fact that there is a Zoom app. Are you understanding the point or not? Now today, can I say that the Zoom which was available in 2020 and the Zoom app which is available in 2021, there is a huge difference about that. पहले Zoom होता क्या था? Earlier, what was the purpose of Zoom? Zoom was like a Skype only, where the two people can talk to each other just face to face. Means camera utilization. Now today, I'm recording the class also, and I'm displaying my same recording portal in front of you. So now tell me, is it less than face to face class or it is very much similar to face class? Not even similar. I can say that it is face to face class only. It is just that I'm not in Coimbatore with you people. Am I correct or not? Yes or no? So I can't watch you. You can watch me and you can watch my live expressions. You can watch the live things which I'm underlining. So it is not less than. So if I'll be coming to Coimbatore also, what will be the maximum thing? I'll be sitting in front of you only. There also I'll be using the laptop and my tab and all those things or not. Are you getting the point or not? So things can be predictable. You cannot say that ki systematic analytical procedures or substantive analytical procedures can be always applied on all the situations. Now tell me, these are the now was the COVID-19 situation predictable or unpredictable?
Predictable.
Unpredictable. So you cannot say that ki, okay. Acha, now you can say that ki in the future when these kind of diseases will come in this world, do we know how to fight them now? Little bit. Do we know how to fight them? Yes. If we'll get an idea, those who might have gone through this, bad phase of COVID-19, they might be aware of the fact that COVID-19 does not affect you physically. It affects you mentally more. Are you getting the point? It has been created a big issue in this world now. If you are COVID-19 patient, then you are about to die. ऐसा नहीं होता. COVID-19 is just an additional disease or additional virus which increases the pace of your death. That's it. If you are older, that's the reason COVID-19 is very much difficult to survive by the which people? Younger people or older people? Older people. I have survived the COVID-19 during my September month. For the 15-20 days, so I was also completely down at that point of time. But ultimately, what I realized that more than physical, it does the which damage? Mental damage. Mentally, it damages. Right or not? I hope you all are taking the necessary precautions in your own city. Because in the south side, to Coimbatore mein to definitely the cases are on the peak right now. Is it happening? Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So now the slowly everywhere it is happening now. Again, I think second wave have started. So that's why it's better to be at your home, take the classes in the most necessary manner, right? Now with that, everyone, almost the whole standard is over. These are just the residual parts which we are left with. Investigating results of analytical procedure. What does that say? If the analytical procedure performed in accordance with 520 identify the fluctuations or relationships that are inconsistent with the other relevant information or that differ from the expected values by the significant amount, auditor shall investigate the such thing. That too I already told you. Suppose, do you remember I told you the 1600 flats wala income? Suppose your calculation is coming 40 crores yearly rental income and he has credited only 20 crores. Now tell me one thing, is the difference huge or small? Your calculation is saying 40 crores and he has credited only 20 crores of income. Is the difference huge or small? Huge. Now are you going to investigate in that case? Yes. Are you going to use your PS in that case? What is PS, everyone? Professional skepticism. Will you become, or will you be using your questioning mind or not? Yes. And according to your calculation, if it is coming 40 crores, and according to his calculation, it is coming 39.9 crores. Are you getting the point or not? Now tell me one thing. Is the difference so huge? I'm not saying that it is less difference, but it is not much difference. In that case, you will just simply go to the your client and you will say that why this difference of 10 lakhs. He might be saying that one of the what do you say, tenant vacated it in the 11th month only. He did not pay the last 2-3 months of rent. So that can be a possibility. Am I correct or not? Yes. So definitely if your expected results and actual results and the difference between them is huge, you will definitely would like to do the investigation. And you would not like to do the investigation if your expected and actual may difference is what? Less. That is what is written in this paragraph, everyone. Everyone, please tell me whether 520 went inside your head now? Yes or no? Yes. So please tell me the list of standards which we are done with. Help me in the list of standards which we are done with. I think almost 2021 standards we are done with, I think, right or not? Out of 26. We are done with 200. We started with 200. We are done with 200. We are done with 210, 220, 230. We are done with 300, 320. We are done with 500, 501, 505, 510, 520 now, 530 also, 550, 560, 570, 580. Complete 500 series is over, right or not? We are done with 700 series also, everyone. We are done with 700, 701, 705, 706, 710. So 700 series is also completed. It means 315 is left over and some chiller standards of 200 series are left over. Clear or not, everyone? So almost how many standards we are done with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 6 plus 10, 16 plus 5, 21 standards we are done with. Clear, everyone? Now 260 and 299, 265, these are very, and 250, these are very small standards, plus 315 and 240. I think you don't have 265. Can somebody please confirm whether 265 is there in your portion? I don't think so that you have 265. We have 240, 250, 260, 299. So 4 standards of 200 series are left and 315 of what do you say, 300 series is left and we are left with 610 also. So in total 6 standards we are left with. But no, you should be the 200, 210, 220, 230, 306, 6 plus 10, 16 plus 5, 21, 25 plus 1, 27. 600 series में 610 is only available. 620 and for the 600 I'll provide you. Okay? Common? Yes. So everyone, any doubt so far in this 2 standards which you have done in the last 2-3 classes? We talked about 530 also. We talked about 520 also. Right or not? So let us just see what are the things we are done with. So we're done with this chapter. We're done with this chapter. We're done with this chapter. We're done with, yeah, छोटा सा chapter है 240 almost done with. 6 chapter 9. 6 chapter 9 हुआ. We're done with this. We're done with this. And we are done with this. And we are done with this. Clear, everyone? Yes or no? Audit of banks, one day topic we will do. Okay, let's do one thing. Tomorrow we will start with the audit of bank only. But it's a very small topic actually. Audit of bank we'll do. And after that, we'll start with the audit of automated environment also will complete. It is also 1.5 class. And fraud also 1 day class. So audit of banks, automated environment and fraud will take not more than 4 classes. 4 classes are required for bank audit. It is required for automated environment and fraud and responsibility. Yes. Then we'll be left with only 3 chapters, that is called audit of different items and audit of items of financial statements, different entities, and risk assessment and internal control. 400 सीरीज नहीं है कोमल, पोर्शन में नहीं है 400 सीरीज, वो आपके पोर्शन में है 402, 450, but new syllabus में it is not there. Are you getting the point? So this is how we are going to proceed. So as I told you that 15th might be your last day. 15th तक अपना पोर्शन हो जाएगा and the total classes and the total topics, everything will be sorted out. Right or not? Is the time right now? We still have a time. So let's do one thing. Shall we start with the audit of banks right now? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So let us complete the audit of banks. I mean, just see where is the audit of. Hmm. And after that, one particular day, we'll have a discussion over the RTP also, everyone. Clear? I will make sure that 1 or 2 days we'll discuss the RTP also with you so that you will get an idea ki, okay, this kind of questions they may ask you, because discussing the RTP, why it is important, because you never know from where they may ask you this question, right? Let me just discuss you that bank what. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Please. I will send you these files to you separately also. Sir, can we have a mock test too? That is available in ICA, Komal. It is available in the ICA. You can give the mock test over there. No issues. In case you need any kind of assistance, please let me know in that. I will help you out in how the mock test can be given. At least you will get an idea over there. You can do enough practice before leaving for the exam. I hope all of you are left with the group 2 only.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Chalo. So everyone, let us start with the new chapter. What is the name of the chapter? The audit of banks, everyone. Not that big chapter, not that small chapter, but little bit of, MCQ based chapter it is. Now, why it is MCQ based chapter? Here, there are so many things you have to understand, and I will try my level best to squeeze this chapter and put it inside your head. Now, let us first understand, everyone, what is the background of this bank. Now, why bank audit is there in your portion? What is from where it has come? Actually, bank audit is your CA final topic as well. So if you are doing the bank audit at the intermediate level, Komal, you can leave. Teja, you can leave because you all are old syllabus. Bank audit is not a part of your portion. Okay. And tomorrow's class also, I will let you know whether you have to join the tomorrow's class or not, because I think tomorrow's class also will be there on the bank audit only. Clear, Komal? So today and tomorrow you need not attend. You and Teja both. You can leave right now. No issues. Yeah. You can listen. There is no problem. If you want to listen, there is no problem at all. But I'm telling you that it is not there in your portion because being from the old syllabus, it is not. So Teja, do you also want to continue?
No, sir. I have
Yeah, sure.
in my house, so latest and a lot of work is going on. So
Yeah, sure. You can discontinue and tomorrow also you need not come. Okay?
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Chalo, thank you. Chalo, everyone, let us understand what is there in the audit of banks, everyone. Audit of bank means what? See, you all know that bank is nothing but is a place where the lot of public money is involved. Am I correct or not? And being a public money involved, what happens basically? The government of India has given the instructions to the RBI. It's okay, you are doing your internal audit, you are doing your inspection audit, but please make sure that bank audit is also required to be done. What do you mean by bank audit? All the bank branches in India are required to be audited statutorily by a statutory auditor on the yearly basis. Like we do the audit on the normal company on the yearly basis, banks are also required to be audited on the yearly basis. But let me tell you one thing, the whole audit of bank is not there in your portion. In your portion, just they have touched some of the topics, because in detail the bank audit is waiting for you in CA final. So here so you can say that yes, they have touched the bank audit so that you can have an idea what bank audit is all about, right or not? So everyone, bank ka definition is there in front of you. So like a normal audit, you all have to understand the bank audit in the same manner only. Obviously, we are doing the audit of the bank, and definitely the rules and regulations will be little bit different. So everyone, please understand what is the definition of the bank. It is a financial institution that accepts a deposit from the public and lends the credit and loans to the public. So remember one thing, why the bank audit is required? Because bank is a place where the lot of public money is accepted by them and lot of public money is given to the public in the form of loans. Are you getting the point? So it is a financial institution that accepts a deposit from the public. Am I correct? And also lends what? Credit to the public. Everyone crystal clear with the definition of the bank or not? Yes or no? Yes. So when we are talking about the bank, are you getting the point? You all have to understand if there are some features of the bank. What are the features of the bank? In the bank, there will always be a huge volume of transaction. Do you all agree or not? Imagine that. Just imagine the volume of checks which are getting deposited and cleared in a day. Tell me, is it a one or two checks getting deposited and cleared in a day, or crores and crores of checks? Crores and crores of checks are going to be cleared and deposited in a single day. So there is a huge volume and there is a complexity of the transaction. Now let me tell you the meaning of complexity of the transaction. Everyone, please tell me, you all must be having the ATM right now. Am I correct or not? Yes. So now tell me, can you use your ATM card in any corner of the country and immediately within a nanosecond, your account statement will be automatically updated if you will take out the mini statement from that ATM?
Yes.
Yes. Is it the same bank ATM you can use or any bank's ATM?
Any banks.
Any bank's ATM, but automatically your bank statement will be automatically updated or not? So just try to understand the complexity of the softwares what they are using. You are having an ATM card of SBI Bank in Coimbatore in the Shivaji Nagar or Rajaji Nagar, sorry. So in the Rajaji Nagar, you have one ATM of that particular branch, you have opened an account. You went to Kashmir, you are withdrawing money from the Canara Bank ATM in the Kashmir. So look at the complexity, how complex the business of banks are. They are interlinked with each other. So what is the first feature? We all understood, everyone? Huge volume and complexity of transaction. I hope all of you understood. Just write the yes or no in the comment box. Okay. Now, what is the second feature of the bank? Now you can see that these many complexities and these many volume of transactions are there. So that definitely demands the audit of the bank or not? Yes. Second one, wide geographical spread of banks network. Now tell me, India may there are so many banks. Each and every bank is having so many branches. Some are rural branches, some are urban branches, some are semi-urban branches. So can I say that there are lakhs and lakhs of banks in India? So are they limited to one particular area, or there's a widespread of geographical locations? Widespread. Not only in India, we have the multinational banks also. We have the SBI branches in New York also. We have the SBI branches in London also. We have the foreign banks in India also. Indian banks in foreign also. We have the banks in Andhra also, Telangana also, Tamil Nadu also. The same banks which are available in Hyderabad are there in Coimbatore also. So you can find that on every, I think in every area nowadays, you can see at least one bank branch or not. So tell me, is it a small network or it is a wide network, everyone? Wide network of banks. Second thing, are today's banks only dealing in the taking the uh, deposits and lending the loans, or there are multiple new products have come in the banks? There are multiple of products and services which the bank can provide. Can you take a DD from the bank? Yes. Can you take the traveler's check from the bank? Yes. Can you take a bank guarantee? Yes. Can you take a letter of credit? Yes. Can you do the foreign exchange currency? Yes. Whether the banks can also work as a portfolio managers? Yes. Whether the banks can collect and pay the LIC premium on your behalf? Yes. So nowadays banks are only limited to two types of activities, or they are providing the variety of products and services, everyone? They are providing the
Services.
variety of products and services. So first point may be understood that today's the banks are involved in huge volume and there's a complexity of transactions. Point number two may understood there's a wide geographical spread of banks network. Point number three may understood variety of the products and services. And at the same point of time, are the banks open birds or are they the free birds? No, they are always being watched under the strict vigilance of which one? RBI. Are you getting the point or not? Can I say the Reserve Bank of India is the father of all the banks? Yes, you dare to do anything wrong. You dare to do anything wrong. Whether RBI is the regulator of the banks or not. Yes. Who are the regulators of whom? Tell me, who is the regulator of listed companies? SEBI. Who is the regulator of insurance companies? IRDA. Who is the regulator of the telecom companies? TRAI. Am I correct? Who is the regulator of the banking companies? RBI. So you are always going to follow whose guidelines? RBI guidelines. And nowadays, can I say that this is a biggest truth right now? Today's bank is a manual banks or all are using information technology nowadays? All are using information technology. So can I say that nowadays there's an extensive use of information technology or not? Yes. You go to any bank, you go to any branch, you go to any ATM. Today you can deposit the check also without going to the bank. Can you do everything online today? I think half of you, not only half of you, all of you who are listening to me right now, you all might be agreeing with me that today it's been more than 1 year or 1.5 years you have not seen the bank branch of your own bank account. Am I correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Now everyone is using Google Pay, Phone Pay, Bharat Pay, whatever the pays you are using, Paytm and all. You want to transfer the big amount also, then you can do the IMPS, NEFT, RTGS. You want to apply for the credit card also. Do you have to go to the branch? No, online you can apply. You want to replace your debit card because your debit card is not working properly. You can make a request and the new debit card will come. So all these things are now difficult nowadays, or it became easier nowadays? Easier nowadays. It's only because of the extensive use of what? Technology. So these are known as the 5 features of the bank, everyone. So what are the 5 features of the bank? Huge volumes are there, complexity of transactions are there, wide geographical spread of banks is there, variety of products and services they offer. They are always regulated under the strict vigilance of RBI and extensive use of technology is there. So this is nothing but called as a meaning of banks, everyone, in front of you. Crystal clear? Any doubt or no doubt, everyone? No doubt. Now, remember one thing, this is the highly asked question in your examination. Very like common question what they may ask you. What is the regulatory framework of the banks? On the banks, which kind of acts are applicable? Now tell me whether the Banking Regulation Act is applicable on the banks or not. Yes. Banks are also governed by which act? And remember, you have to remember the acts, all the acts. Remembering the year or you are not remembering the year, that is your problem. And I will suggest that don't go for the years. Are you getting the point? I will suggest that at least remember the name of the acts which are applicable on the banks. So what is the first act, everyone? Banking Regulation Act. Second act, Companies Act. Why Companies Act is applicable? Because banks are nothing but incorporated in the form of companies only. SBI being the biggest bank or being the biggest PSU bank in India, So SBI Act is also there. Then SBI, you all must have known the fact that all the various other banks of state have been merged with the SBI recently, last 2-3 years back. Am I correct or not? Now there is no State Bank of Chennai, there is no State Bank of Coimbatore, there is no State Bank of Hyderabad, there is no State Bank of Rajasthan, there is no State Bank of things. All these state banks have been merged together, and now there is only one PSU. What is that PSU? SBI. So for that they created one act. What is the name of that? SBI Subsidiaries Bank Act. So tell me everyone, what are the 4 acts applicable? Banking Regulation Act, Companies Act, SBI Act, SBI Subsidiaries Bank Act, right or not? Now we have a separate act called Banking Companies Act also. So this is a Companies Act and this one is a Banking Companies Act. We have the Regional Rural Banks Act also. What do you mean by RRBs? Those kind of banks which are operating from the rural areas, like cooperative banks are there. Now tell me whether Information Technology Act is also applicable on the banks or not. Why? Because banks nowadays using the extensive use of technology. So now tell me, if you are online transferring the amount from your bank to another bank, is it acceptable as a legal transfer or not? Tell me. Yes, it is all possible because it is having an approval under the which act? Information Technology Act. Can anybody tell me about this act? What is this? Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Can anybody tell me about this act? Why this act is applicable on the banks? First of all, tell me what do you mean by prevention of money laundering? Yeah, very nice. Black money, very nice. So let me tell you everything, guys. Say for example, in your bank transactions, 10 lakhs of credit is there in the year or 10 lakhs of debit is there, and if the total turnover is going what? 20 lakhs debits and credits. Remember one thing, banks are always watching your account activity. If the bank will get any kind of suspicion, is suddenly the so many payments are coming into your account and you are making so many payments out of your account, bank will immediately give your information to Enforcement Directorate, and Enforcement Directorate will raid on your business, will raid on your house. That is known as Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Basically, banks have every right to inform the income tax department, GST department, and the government departments in case you are nothing but hiding your black money via banks. So that act is known as Prevention of Money Laundering. It is known as money laundering. Don't worry, it is there in your CA final. Wait for the CA final law. We will be meeting over there and we'll be definitely doing over there, right? What is the next act, everyone? Anybody can tell me the full form of SARFAESI Act? You all have to remember these acts. That's why I'm going a little bit slow in that. What is the full form of SARFAESI Act, anyone? It is known as, now listen to this, it is known as Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Asset and Enforcement of Security Interest. Now, anybody can explain what is the full form? Securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of securities interest act. Sir, what is this act actually? Those people who take the loan from the company but they become defaulter. Are you getting the point? What the bank will do, bank will not take the tension to recover the money from you. Bank will sell its dead money, its dead loan defaulters to one company called Securitization and Reconstruction Company. Those securitization and reconstruction companies will come to your house as a recovery agents. They will try to recover the money from you. If you will not give the money within 60 days, they will take over your properties. You might have seen that sometimes when you take a loan, bank takes a security or not? Yes. If you fail to repay the loan, what the bank will do with that security? Bank will auction that security. Bank will give you the 60 days notice. If you want us not to auction your house and sell it in the open market, please come and repay your loan. And in case you are not repaying the loan, bankers have every right to enforce your securities. That is the reason ESI stands for enforcement of security interest. They will sell your securities in the market and recover their money. That act is known as SARFAESI Act, everyone. Everyone is understanding whatever I'm saying so far? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what are the acts which we are done with? Banking Regulation Act, Companies Act, SBI Act, SBI Subsidiaries Act, Banking Companies Act, RRB Act, IT Act, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, SARFAESI Act. Sir, what is CICR Act? It is known as Company Credit Information. Just wait, CICR. Credit Information something act is there. What is CICR? Sorry. Credit Information Companies Regulation Act, right? Is it correct what I'm saying? Credit Information Yeah. Okay. So it is CICR is Credit Information Companies Regulation Act. Now, what is the next act? Next act is known as Payments and Settlements Act. Payment and Settlement System Act. So like that, you have to remember all these acts. These are known as regulatory framework. Are you getting the point? And remember one thing, one act is not written here. That is called RBI Act 1934. Which act? RBI Act 1934. So these are the acts. Yeah, that's what. Devadashini, I think just now I saw. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
RBI Act 1934. Right or not? So everyone remember one thing, very important question, and so many times they will ask you this question as it is in the examination. How they will ask you? Briefly explain the regulatory framework of the bank. You need not remember the years, but you have to remember all the acts. Banking Regulation Act, then Companies Act, then SBI Act, then SBI Subsidiaries Act, then RRB Act, then Information Technology Act, Banking Companies Act, Money Laundering Act, SARFAESI Act, CICR Act, Payment and Settlement System Act, and RBI Act 1934. Crystal clear, everyone? Any doubt so far or no doubt? No doubt. Okay. Now, yes. Yes. Speak, please. SBI Act is yes. Applicable only for the SBI bank only. Why we are giving the information about the SBI Act is there? Because it is the India's largest public sector bank. So being India's largest public sector bank, they have created a special act for that. So yes, obviously SBI Act will definitely apply only on the SBI as well as its subsidiaries. Clear or not? Yes. So everyone, yeah. So everyone will do one thing. So we will continue this tomorrow, and tomorrow we are going to understand the whole audit of banks. So tomorrow's complete class from 7 to. So I will not be able to take right now half an hour extra. I will definitely take half an hour extra tomorrow. So tomorrow 7 to 9:30 we are going to complete this particular audit of banks. Are you getting the point? So it does not deserve more than 3 hours क्योंकि छोटा सा ही act है. It is not a big audit. You it is getting over here. So I will try my level best to complete it by tomorrow itself only. And tomorrow our audit of banks another chapter will be over. Then day after tomorrow we are going to start with audit of automated environment. Audit in automated environment. It will go up to Sunday, right or not? So I think by Sunday we should be in a position to complete these two more chapters. Then we'll do fraud and responsibilities of the auditor. One class it is required. That is on Monday. It will be over. Okay. And after that, we'll be left with the three major topics that is called audit of items of financial statement, audit of different entities, and risk assessment and internal control. So after that, once your portion will be over, then when I will ask the management to conduct one RTP discussion things. So otherwise I'll do one thing. Anyways, I'm going to discuss my RTP on my YouTube channel. So you all can join at that point of time also. I think that will be the better idea. Am I correct or not? Yes. So anyways, I'm going to discuss the whole RTP of audit and whole RTP of law on my YouTube channel. So I will intimate you via SMS on which particular day I am fixing that particular discussion of 2-3 hours of session on the YouTube. You all can come and join that session. Clear, everyone? Right? So thank you so much, everyone. Good night to all of you. See you guys tomorrow. Okay? Bye, everyone. Good night. Good night. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good night. Good night, all of you. Thank you so much.